Well, we met at thrifty drugstores at Chatham Road. I was a new employee.
It was the first Saturday in March in 1978.
The assistant manager, Marty Fahey, introduced me to Kathy. I was in aisle 4 in the paper goods section, and he introduced me to her.
He came up and he's like, "Oh, Kathy, I want you to meet our new employee." He's like, "Bob, you know, this is Kathy. Kathy, this is Bob." And, I'm like, "Hi." And your dad's like, "Hi." And
I thought, wow, this girl is hot. This is going to be a really good place to work.
he was not my type at all.
I figured she's way out of my league. She's never going to go out with me. Didn't even enter my mind to ask her out.
I always gathered he was a little more on the wild side than I was.
We'd flirt. She'd flirt with me if I was, working up in the front at the cash register and she was at the back cash register. I'd look back there and she'd look at me and go, wink at me and stuff. And we weren't even dating. And I'm like, what's wrong with this girl? Why won't she go out with me? She's winking at me.
I'd always just wink at him, just for fun, just to screw with him. And he'd always give me this sweet smile and wink back, and we'd go winking back and forth.
Later in the summer or fall, I was breaking up with my then girlfriend, and she said to me, she knew your mom, and she said to me, this is true. She goes, why you want to break up with me? Do you want to go out with Kathy Davis? And I went, no.
Okay, I don't know why I get teary. I always said no. When your dad was home from school and he was it was Sunday morning and I was in church with my mom. And I'm sitting there and your dad walks in and he waves and I wave at him. And my mom goes, who's that? And I told her and she's like, he's cute. I'm like, you think? I didn't see it before that. I always thought that God wanted me to like him more instead of just going for the looks.
It was probably 2.5 years later of me asking your mom out off and on for 2.5 years before she agreed to go out with me.
It was Saturday after Thanksgiving and all of us went out from Thrifty's and we went to Pizza Hut. And he asked if he could give me a ride and I said yes. So that was kind of opening the door. And then I just kind of put down my guard. And he's like, would you like to go? I can't remember what he said, but we went out the next Saturday, December 1st.
I wore my high-heeled shoes and my long bell-bottom corduroy pants, I think.
He was wearing like these big, huge heels. And he had like a corduroy sport coat on. And I was like, oh my. It's like those heels. I was like, oh God.
Maybe it was a little past its prime, but I was still going with it.
We literally drove around and talked. That's all we did. We drove around and talked. And then he dropped me off at home and he walked me to the door. And we stood there. And that awkwardness when you're not sure if they're going to kiss you or not. So I put my hand out like I was going to shake his hand.
She's like getting ready, trying to go inside and just, a handshake or something. And I'm like, hey, give me a kiss, asshole. And, and that was it.
And I just fell for him right there in that moment.
Seems like it just went by in a flash. Life goes by quickly, let me tell you.
It doesn't feel like it was that long ago, but yet it is, right? I don't feel like I'm 60.
We had a lot of milestones in our time together. Taking over Studio Cobella, that was a big deal in our lives. We were just in our 20s when we did that. And then opening up Bob's Pharmacy, those were really big things. Building a house when I was like 30. Yeah, having you kids, that's the best thing we ever did.
And it's crazy that my children are all grown up. It's crazy. It's crazy. As I just still remember you as little kids.
I was just looking at the my senior yearbook, and right inside the front page, there was some girl that I used to work with at Sir George's Royal Buffet, and she wrote this big long thing in there about how she was, you know, how much fun she had with me, and how she was planning on seeing a lot of me, you know, during the summer. And she writes her phone number down there. I'm so glad I never picked up the phone and called her, because who knows, that may have changed everything. You may not be here. Sam and Lucas may not be here. Sawyer. I'm just so glad that I made all the decisions I made. I wouldn't have changed anything.